haven't been doing much as far as crocheting or knitting, but that's because I have a type of eczema on my fingers that it makes it quite difficult for me to hold the yarn. So I turned to paper crafting, and as you see here, I have my laptop and my Cricut Expression set up, and I made this little guy. Just a fall scene with a punch. I think that's like an oak leaf or something. And all the different colored papers. And this project comes from the Cricut Light Live Simply. My plan is just to keep on adding tree leaves to this little thing. And then I'm going to use, looking for it, this cartridge, which I just bought for the pumpkins, and I'm gonna do a really cute display for my foyer table that's bare right now. So it's been about 3 weeks since I last touched anything with yarn because my hands have been a mess, and I did find my last knitting project that I started in Australia, and just wanted to kind of give you an idea of how that's coming along. As you can see, this is called the zigzag scarf. I picked up the pattern and some of the yarn in Las Vegas, but I didn't start really knitting it until I went to Australia. So here is the progress. It is gorgeous. So if you have sock yarn, you definitely should give it a try. It's my cat baby. She's not making this easy for me. All right, sweetheart. Yes. So this is a variegated, not variegated, but it's a striped sock yarn. And I forget the other yarn that I used. I think I've talked about it in other videos. She's just gonna stare. There you go. So that's one side of it, and that's what I'm gonna call the wrong side, if garter can have wrong. And I'm gonna show you why, because when you're doing the stripes, the other side looks like this. You see? It's a subtle difference, but not so subtle. I mean, look how vibrant, especially the yellows are. And then it just transitions into the darker color up here because of the 3 different types of balls of yarn that make up the project. And so in my project bag, I've got the Felicity yarn, and I've got 2 more balls of, I forget the name of this type of yarn. Got 2 more balls of this. So I mean, this is kind of like a solid color, but it goes into stripes, and then this is like twisted with 2 different colors. So it's really interesting effect that it gives the project. Absolutely love it, and I highly recommend. And so does my cutie. So as you can see, I've really not been up to much of anything, but I wanted to stop in YouTube and say hello and just let you know that I'm still here. I've not really had a chance to do much crafting. I had a breakout of a type of eczema that plagues my hands. And what happens is that I'm gonna look at my hand here, in the middle of the hands, or rather on this side of the hands, are these little tiny pustules. I shouldn't call them pustules, they're like deep blisters. It's not like a blister you can just kind of scratch the skin away. It's deep, and it's red, and it's painful, and it's itchy, and it's awful. And unfortunately, because I love to crochet, the yarn rubs right across it, and usually it happens in the joint parts. So it'll happen here, and it'll happen here. And I don't have really much to show you. It looks kind of like dry skin. So if you can see the marks, the weird marks, that is the scarring or the thickening of the skin after having a flare-up. And it happens happens on the palms of my hand. I really can't show you much of it. It doesn't kind of just come up on the camera, but it happens on both my hands and a lot of times on my feet. So walking can be a little difficult because the shoe rubs against the toes and the toes start to itch, and then your toes are just itching and you're trying to walk and it's painful because it's not an itch like a mosquito bite type itch. It's this deep itching, searing, kind of fiery pain type itch. It's really, really awful. So my feet have been awful. So that segues into what I experienced trying to be able to wear shoes and be professional. So as you may or not know, I work in the technology field and I wear what's called business casual. So you can't run around in athletic wear. And when you have these breakouts, the best thing for you is a shoe that allows as much airflow as possible so that there's not a lot of moisture, so sweat. So I can't wear sandals to work. The nature of my work has me in situations where I want to protect my toes for sure. So I can't wear open-toed shoes, I can't wear sandals, but athletic shoes can be acceptable in the sense that they're protecting my toes, but they're not acceptable because business casual doesn't include athletic wear. So I pulled out a pair of shoes I bought in 2013 or even 2014 when I first moved to Alaska, and they were called Danskos. These shoes were touted as the most comfortable shoes, and nurses around the world were like, you have got to buy these shoes. These are amazing. So I bought these shoes and I wore them exactly 1 8-hour day, and they wrecked my feet. They bruised my feet. They blistered my feet. They were awful. So I put them in the back of my closet and I said to myself, well, it was $150. I can't throw them out, and I just felt bad about donating a torture device. I didn't want to give to Goodwill or give to the Salvation Army a torture device for feet. So back in the recesses of my closet they went, and when we came to Arizona, they ended up in the shoebox that the packers put them in. So I had this breakout this past couple of weeks, and I said, well, let me give these shoes another try. I put them on and they did the exact same thing. An 8-hour day was made absolutely miserable. My car, I walk about half a mile to my car daily. I walked in these shoes 4 trips to my car and back. And my feet did not get blistered, but they were so bruised. And I Googled everything about the Danskos. Why do the tops of my feet? Oh, that's another thing. It's not the side of my foot. It's not the pinky or the toe of the foot. They're not too short. The shoe is the right size. And they're wide width. They're wide width. They're the, what do you call it? D? They're the D size, which is usually the wide width. Because I have a wide foot. I don't have a fat foot, I just have a wide bone structure on my feet. And sure enough, it's not the width. It's the height of the shoe. Like the depth of the shoe from the sole to the top of my foot is really short or something. I guess I have high arches, but I always thought I had flat arches. So I don't even know what this even means. My foot is too tall. Does that even make sense? Can your foot be too tall? So the top of my foot and the arch of my foot is about that thick. And for whatever reason, when I put these shoes on, the top of my foot is crushed and bruised and dug into, and it's awful. The heel of the foot flips back and forth. It doesn't rub against the back of my foot. And the toe of the foot, I don't feel my toes rubbing anywhere on the shoe. It's just the top of my foot. And it makes no sense whatsoever. And I'm not the only one. But I don't know what to do about it, because everyone kept saying on these reviews that, oh, yes, I had the same problem with the tightness on the top, but after a few wears, it went away. Who wants to have their foot tortured after a few wears? How do I break these shoes in? If you own a pair of Danskos, please tell me how to break them in, because I just don't know what I'm going to do. Now, that being said, my feet are fine. The blisters did go away after a while. My husband discovered that, well, he went on the internet and he was researching. I try not to research my medical ailments because I'll end up with, thinking I have cancer or something. So I don't research it. I just go, okay, it's eczema. We're gonna move on. But my husband went on the line and he researched the type of eczema that I have. I keep saying the type of eczema because it has another name, not just eczema, but I can never remember it. It starts with a D, and it's usually just called hands and foot eczema. Anyway, he found that if you soak it in warm water and then apply moisturizer after patting dry, never rubbing, that it'll lessen the discomfort. And he was right. I soaked my feet in a coconut oil and mint oil foot bath with Epsom salts, and I let the skin get really, really tender and, you know, just really, really soft. I did it until the water went from warm to cold. And I just scrubbed my feet really, you know, not scrubbed it hard. I scrubbed the dead skin off and just kind of give myself a pedicure. And I realized that my feet were not itching. I thought, I'm giving myself a pedicure. The feet are not itching. So he's absolutely right. The oils kind of soaked into the skin and held that moisture in. And after a few days of doing this, the itching went away. The blisters are still there. They're red, they're angry, but they don't itch nearly as bad with the skin being properly moisturized. So I think that's the key. The key is to keep the feet and your hands properly moisturized. You know, don't let them get dry, because the minute you let them get dry, they crack, they itch, they burn, they sting, and it's quite miserable. Do not use alcohol. So I was using alcohol on them, treating them just like I would treat any blister. But it's not a burn. I don't know what it is, but alcohol is a terrible idea because it actually causes more thickening of the skin and drying. It's just awful. So while I'm talking, I just felt the top of one. So it's right on the knuckle right there, if you can see it. And right now it's itching a little bit. So I have to stop rubbing. That's my problem, is that I'll start feeling the abnormal type skin. It's a little thicker, and I'll start doing this. I'll start rubbing my thumb around it. And then that causes itching. You should not rub, you need to pat to make the itching go away. So anyway, I have rambled on for the last 10 minutes. That's pretty much what I've been up to. I have been watching Karen and Jan. I've been watching Eloise and I can't remember all of you. I've been watching you all, especially the ones that comment on my videos. I've been going to the channels and checking to see what you've been up to. I haven't been doing much commenting because my television doesn't offer the opportunity to comment. I know, does that sound strange? I have my YouTube app on my TV, so it allows me to watch videos, but it doesn't allow me to make comments. The only time I'm making comments is when I'm watching from my computer, which, since I've been really busy at work, I haven't been watching any computer. I haven't been using my computer at home so much. And I never watch on my phone because the screen's just, you know, tiny, and I have a giant, you know, 4K television. Why would I want to watch it at home on my phone? So anyway, hopefully that you don't feel like I've been too neglectful, and I hope that you continue to share with me all of your projects and your life and what you do. Thank you for watching, and have a great weekend. Bye.